I'm now going to declare the Board of Trustees back in open session. For the record, the time is 7:08 p.m. While in executive session, no final action, final decisions, or final votes were taken. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Let us pray. Father God, we thank you so much for this day that you've given us. Father, we thank you for this beautiful weather. And we thank you for all these folks that have came out here tonight to honor their students, to check on the school's business. And Father, we just pray for wisdom as we get ready to make decisions impacting our children, and our school district, and all of our employees, Father. Father, we love you. We praise you. We ask all this in Jesus Christ's name, I pray. Amen.
Amen. On behalf of the entire MISD board and our superintendent, I want to welcome all of you tonight. Welcome, and especially to all of our visitors. Item E on the agenda is the superintendent's report. Mr. Mize.
See if I can find my notes. I hope everybody had a great spring break. I know that was it was fast and furious. But while we're gone on spring break, there's a lot of our kids that are competing and doing well for our district as they represent us. And so we had girls that were competing. One of our young ladies competed at the girls' state powerlifting meet. And so we're very proud of her and all of her accomplishments. We also had baseball and softball that were going on during that time. We also had agriculture mechanics students that were in Houston competing at the Houston Livestock Show. And One Act Play advanced to the area competition. They did an outstanding job in our theater department, so we're very proud of them. It's hard to imagine this, but there's 44 instructional days left in the school year. And so it has gone by extremely quick. We've got student groups participating. I know band's going next week to compete in concert season, so I know that's going to be a big time for them. This morning we had the opportunity to host the Meredith Foundation. And the Meredith Foundation is really a jewel in Mineola. They have done a lot for the city of Mineola. They've done a lot for the school district. Many years ago, they made a donation to the school district where they gave a piano to the district. That was their very first gift. Can't remember the dollar value to that, but over the years they have substantially increased their givings to the district. And this year they've awarded $100,000 in scholarships. 10 students will receive $10,000 in scholarship money. So we are blessed as a community to have them and very thankful for what they do in our community. So bond information is out. We'll have some information dedicated to our website for that. We've had several town halls. There's things on Facebook where you can go back and watch to receive a little bit of information about that. And as questions come up, if people need information about that, do not hesitate to call my office. I'd be glad to visit with you anytime, anywhere, to talk to you about the facts of the bond. Early voting will start on April the 25th and go through May the 2nd, with the election being held all day on that Saturday, May the 7th, from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So if you have any information, any questions that you'd like answered about that, please don't hesitate to reach out. And that's all I've got.
Okay. Recognitions? Primary, Ms. Ray. Item F on the agenda is recognitions and celebrations. First primary, Mrs. Gray.
Good evening, everyone. It's my pleasure to present to you Mr. Grayson Murphy and Ms. Mineola Jackson as Mineola Primary School Students of the Month. Mineola is a first grader in Ms. Swanner's class and is the daughter of Monica Perez and Randall Gauze. She is an exemplary leader and student with a strong work ethic. Her teacher shares that Mineola is an unfailing, kind person, will do anything to make a friend smile or to reach out a helping hand. And as of Monday, when she grows up, she wants to be a ballerina teacher. So lots of aspirations for this sweet girl. Mr. Grayson Murphy is also a first grader in Miss Swanner's class. He's the son of Michael Murphy and Kristen Ramsey. He is full of light and consistently shows what hard work and goal setting looks like. His teacher shares that Grayson is a strong person with a wonderful personality. Smart and funny are just a few of his lovely traits, and he is leaning towards becoming a police officer when he grows up. So, Grayson Murphy and Mineola Jackson.
You got it, Lucas.
We got it. Yes. Thank you for having us. But I would like to introduce the Mineola Elementary Student of the Month. This is Lucas Osborne. Lucas is a polite, respectful, and hardworking student that never fails to have a smile on his face. He is always eager to learn and has an excellent participation in class, his teachers say. He works diligently and always strives to do his best. His teachers and fellow classmates appreciate his positive attitude and consideration for others, and your teachers say, keep up the great work and congratulations. That's Lucas Osborne. But I would love to share about Raylen Douglas. I'm sorry she can't be with us tonight, but Raylen was chosen as a Student of the Month because her great attitude and contagious smile. She has always been knighted. She's also been knighted at our EAFK ceremony service. She's also a hard worker and to help her classmates be in service anytime needed. Raylen walks in each morning with a positive greeting for her classmates. She also works hard with her teachers and does her very best on every task given. Her classroom is a better place with Raylen's shining, charming, and playful personality in it, her teachers say. So, Mr. Lucas Osborne tonight. And then Raylen at home. You want to pause and get a picture?
Good morning. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening. We're in the good evening. I just want to celebrate our 8th grade students. Our 8th grade students are so much fun. They grow and they mature, and we get to know them so well. So this is Ava Cruz-Caro, and this is Austin Blaylock. I'm going to start with Ava. Her parents are Esther Caro and Henry Cruz. Her teachers say that she is very hardworking and always gives her all in everything she does. This is exemplified in her high grades. Ava is a truly kind person who treats teachers and classmates with respect and kindness. She also has a positive attitude and comes to each class with a smile every day. When speaking with Ava, she said algebra was her favorite subject. She said she likes the way the class is structured so that you can go at your own pace. When she has a question, the teacher can individualize the explanation to fit her needs. Ava wants to study astronomy and eventually work at NASA. So that's Ava, and this is Austin. And Austin is here with his parents, Shauna and Kevin Blaylock. His teachers nominated him because they say he is a well-rounded student who balances his responsibilities well. He is an athlete who also takes his grades very seriously. He always has a positive attitude, and he is not one to give up when the going gets tough. Austin's favorite class is Vex Robotics. He is the leader of his group. We brought the robot, but we chickened out. But it is really cool. It does a lot of things, and he's still working on it. But he designs it from the bottom up. His main role is designing and building the robots. Austin loves to work with his hands. He wants to go to TJC and be a part of the mechanics program where he can eventually learn to pursue a career in mechanics. So that's Austin and Ava. Hey, guys. Ava. Come get a picture. Beautiful. Thank you.
All right, now it's time for the high school students of the month, and these are juniors this month. Two juniors I have are Chloe Garcia and Mr. John Loreto. Both of them were available on Monday when the storms hit. But both of them were busy today representing the school. Tonight, Chloe is at the track meet, and he's been at UIL Academics all day long. I'll tell you about Chloe first. She's involved in FFA. She's a member of our 4 club on campus. She's usually extremely busy with sports, volleyball, powerlifting, and of course track, where she's not here. Her favorite teacher is Miss Crone, who she described as energetic, friendly, and makes learning fun. Outside of school, she hangs with friends like all teenagers do. And like all athletes do, she plays club volleyball year-round. After graduation, she told me she wanted to be a flight attendant, which was odd. So I asked her, why flight attendant? She said, I've been in Mineola all my life. Why not let somebody pay me to see the world? Pretty smart kid. Speaking of smart, we've got John Loreto here. He participates in HOSA, where he's a historian, and he's deeply involved in UIL math and UIL science. He competed today in both those events, finished 6th in science, 2nd in math, and he's advancing to regionals in that. Favorite teacher, science and math, Miss Robinson and Miss Chappa. Outside of school in his free time, what does he do like all guys? Plays video games, plays chess, and loves to read. After graduation, I wish I was like him. He wants to go to UT Austin, hook 'em, where he's going to major in biochemistry and eventually enter med school, become a physician. However, while he's doing that, he would love to have multiple majors, including mathematics, physics, and computer science. Brother, I love your drive. These are my juniors, John Loreto and Chloe Garcia.
Shower, is Mr. Teague out there, Cecil outside? With a lemon? He's on his way in? Yeah, he practiced. Cecil, how are you, sir? Good, sir. You want to recognize your
Yes.
great support staff employee
Yes.
of the month?
Elena, she's really stepped up. She's a great employee. I couldn't ask for any more better help. She's a great team player, and I thank her a whole lot.
You've worked a lot of hours
Oh,
through this
yes.
pandemic, haven't you?
Yes,
Yeah,
a lot of hours.
awesome. Yeah.
No surprise.
Yeah, you pulled off the job and brought right here, weren't you?
Yeah, we were gonna go clean something.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you.
I get the privilege tonight to introduce you to our Teacher of the Year, Kayla Smith. I got some fun facts first about Kayla. So, number one, she has lived in Mineola her entire young life. She is a 2000 graduate here, Mineola ISD. But in August of 2019, she started her career at Mineola Elementary teaching, 3rd grade, reading and language arts. So I took the privilege of interviewing a couple of her students, as well as some coworkers. She doesn't know what I'm about to read. She's trying to read my notes. I know, she's like, which ones? But here we go. Great things. One said, it has to be hard to teach 20 kids every day, twice a day, but she does an amazing job. My favorite thing about her is when we make a mistake, she doesn't make us start all over. She just tells me, turn my paper over and try again. That's very nice of you. That's what the kid said. Another one said when she is teaching, she makes the process fun. one student was going into that day you made up a dance whenever. I'm not gonna make you do it right now, though. Hey, I'm not doing it, but you can. She makes up a dance for us to remember what we're learning. And the last dance was over reading and plot elements. The student said, I think she was chosen for this award because she works hard every day to make sure everything is in order for us and to make it fun. Kayla gets there early in the morning. She's normally one of the last ones to leave because she is, I would say, an overachiever, but she strives to make sure everything is perfect and exactly what her students deserve and need so that they excel in the classroom. So I appreciate you for everything you do for our students, but she's very well deserving of this award. Miss Kayla Smith.
They got a special award
We have
for
a
you too.
special award from Mrs. Juan Carrasco from Texas Farm Bureau. Here you go.
Now, the thing about Farm Bureau is, we got together with Mr. Myers, and we didn't want to support the community and the teachers and staff. I mean, you guys do a great job. My kids go here, so, well, I got one kid. And speaking of track, I thought I was late. I got here, and everybody was standing outside. I'm like, man, I'm late, you know. But anyway, we're going to do that. Also with that, there's also going to be a gift card. I did not, they're in my office. I did not have time to go and get them, so.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Awesome.
Hey, do you mind if I
Congratulations.
snap a picture?
Yes.
Thank you. Do you want it with your
Yes,
phone as well? I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
We like the photo op.
Let's make sure I get it right. Teenagers say I don't.
Yeah, that's.
Thank you. Now you might catch them in the parking lot. Or I can give it to them. I can take it down to you. Yes, you will.
Hey, Juan.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, Juan, are you gonna be here in the morning in town?
Yes, sir.
Drop that banner off here,
Okay.
and I'll pick it up here tomorrow.
Yeah, and I'm headed, I'll be here because I'm headed to Austin.
Okay.
Texas.
Yeah, just swing it by here and I'll pick it up before the end of the day.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, next item on the agenda is the CTE program and the study of studies. We'll have the audiovisual group to come in and speak.
Before we do that, I wanted to give y'all kind of a little update about the school board had requested an update about what the class of 2021 was up to after they graduated school. So I want to take just a few minutes to tell you a little bit about what I learned about those guys. So out of the 115 graduates, we emailed a survey of 13 questions of general information to them about dual credit. Did they have any transfer issues? Where are they attending college? Did they enlist in the military? Are they employed? Just general information that we wanted to know about where those kids are now. A correlation between their pathways and their current positions. So then when we got the survey back from those guys, then we started calling the ones that didn't respond, and we left a lot of messages, and then we started even calling the parents. We've had about a third of those students to date respond to us. And so I just kind of compiled a little bit of the information to give you. Some of the colleges that the students are going to is TJC, Texas A&M, SMU, UT Tyler. Some of the majors that they put were nursing, radiology, business, the fire academy. We had several who are currently serving in our military in the Marines and the Army. Employment, they listed realty, welding, Sanderson's Farms, various restaurants, and construction. Several different construction places. My favorite question, though, that we asked was, share with me any news, updates, or feedback that you would like to give us. And so that was their opportunity just to kind of voice their opinions. And we got a lot of positive things. They were very excited about the dual credit opportunity. They felt like that fast-tracked a lot of them. They started as freshmen, but then they'll get to skip to a junior year and potentially graduate a year early. Several of them are in leadership positions in college. One of them is a TJC Touch of Gold captain. That's kind of like their color guard for the TJC Apache band. One of them and some of these guys you're going to figure out who I'm talking about by what I say, set the school record in one of the track and field events at UT Tyler for her pole vaulting. Presidents and dean's list, there were several of those that had listed that. We have one young lady who is at Texas A&M who is on the RoboMasters member team. She's a Women in Engineering Underwater Vehicle team member. There were several marriages and starting families and working and adulting kind of conversations going on in that. And overall, I feel like that we have, at Mineola ISD, has put forth a great group of kids that are doing well in their adult lives. Do y'all have any questions?
I know how hard that was to compile and to get that information, because we've talked about it for several years, but we've never been able to do that because it's a lot of work to do that. So I do appreciate you sending it out and making the phone calls and compiling the data.
It was a team effort, and we left a lot of voice messages, and there's a lot of kids that we didn't get in contact to. So, but I wanted to give y'all some kind of information. So thank
So
you.
of the third that you were able to get responses from, how many of those were actually, I guess, in an industry program where they continue their education? I might have missed it. You might have said it.
There were probably, out of those, probably 3 that actually stuck with and were currently in, but a lot of them in the nursing and radiology are in college.
Okay.
And they're not.
They're just right. That's yeah.
But I don't have a specific, other than the ones that put welding and construction, and there were 3 of those specifically that were in that pathway and continued on with an actual position. That were quite a few, and I could go back and get that specific number for you if you want. But the radiology and the nursing and that group of young ladies and gentlemen were the ones that was the big primary focus of those.
Yeah, for me, I just wanted to see, what are they taking what we're doing here and
Right.
moving on with it.
The employment one was hard to tell because of a lot of the ones that responded to us are the ones that are in college, and they're picking careers that are going to work easily around their schedule. So there was a lot of restaurants and stuff mentioned there, and then there were several of them that said, well, because of my college requirements, I'm not able to work right now. Okay, so if there are no other questions, I have Aaron Cavett here with a group of his students that want to talk to you about the audio and visual CTE program.
Hey, so my name is Aaron Cavett. I lead the graphic design and illustration pathway as well as the information technology pathway, which is our coding. I brought some of the greatest kids I've ever had the privilege of teaching. I don't know what you feed these guys, but my gosh, y'all turn out really awesome kids here in Mineola. Gumbo, yeah, there you go. But we have 4 classes in the pathway. We have Principles of Audiovisual Technology. That's our freshman course. That's kind of the course where they can get their feet wet, learning the principles of art. And as we grow it, we're wanting to do more and more with being able to help out with, videoing things for the district or the community, and kind of be kind of that point. We started out kind of with that, with doing the drone footage of the band at the football games, and we're hoping to capstone that one with doing some commercials and brochures for the different CTE programs and different academic programs at the school. So we're going to start a few of those this year and then continue on with those next year. Graphic Design and Illustration 1 is the first of the Graphic Design Pathway official classes. Most of these students in here are in that one. And my goodness, like all those students, and even the freshman students I have in the Principles of AV, I've put up some of their work on Facebook, and I'm going to brag so much about these guys. I have professors from my college contacting me and being like, are you sure these are freshmen in high school, not freshmen in college? You're not a professor, right? Because they're putting out collegiate level work, and it's just blowing my mind that these are first year students with no prior years in this stuff. And then we have Graphic Design and Illustration 2, and then Practicum in Graphic Design and Illustration. And in that one, we're going to really try to focus on them being able to do a lot of the multimedia and graphic design for the district as much as we can, posters, advertising, grow as much as we can. Big dreams always, right? But in each of those pathways, we're trying to, we're going to be gaining certifications, and hopefully we'll be able to get one kind of applied in with our freshmen. As we see on the next slide, we have what our potential certifications are. For the first year would be Premiere Pro, but then year 2 they do Illustrator, year 3 is InDesign, and year 4 is Photoshop. And what's really unique about those is those are the professional certifications that whether you're in the industry or you are learning in school, those are what Adobe puts out as the real professional certificates for it. But what's cool is if you start pairing those up smartly, you get the actual professional badges. And so if they go from freshman year through senior year in my program and we get all those certifications, they'll get 2 professional certifications on there, like gold stamps. And so they'll graduate with 6 certifications, and frankly, they could go straight into the industry at that point and skip college if they wanted to and be junior designers and making $60,000, $80,000 straight out of high school. And so it's amazing stuff. So those are kind of the certificates we're looking at doing with it. And then the next slides is, each slide is what one of our students, one of their early projects and the more recent project, the project I'm most proud of. So I'm just going to have them come and give just a few seconds, talk about what they've learned and what they've enjoyed in the process. So first up is Quentin Crowley, and y'all got, that Grand Canyon, y'all have to know all these projects, they take them about between 2 and 3 weeks. And I know it looks like, okay, it's just digital, you can toss that together. But I forced them to their grievance. I forced them to do everything by hand, the hard way, before I taught them the tools that were the simple, quick ways, so that I grew them as artists first. And so that Grand Canyon thing he did completely by hand in the programs. Every point, every line, everything.
Well, what I learned is how to use it and use the pen tool, which helped draw out objects. Like the first one is the HVAC. I had to draw out those, I don't know what it's called. It's like a gauge for how hot or cold or Freon inside of it. And then the fire and the snowflake kind of did it too. And then the favorite project is the Grand Canyon. It's just a really good looking one from scratch. It was white and then it just turned into that later on as I continued.
All right, Yuka. That Wisteria one looks like something a legitimate industry professional made for a movie. It's mind-blowingly beautiful.
Okay, so I've learned a lot this year. Like, I've never really practiced or done anything with Adobe Illustrator, so this was one of the first times I've ever done one of these things. So, like, on the left there, I have one of my first projects I ever did, which would be my celebrity poster or just project, where I just picked a celebrity that I liked and I drew them in Illustrator with a pen tool and stuff. And then on the right, I have one of my newest projects would be my Wisteria Forest, which is my national park poster, which I practiced a lot on, and I think I've learned a lot in this course.
Great job.
Okay.
All right, and Chevelle?
Okay, so my left project is my famous celebrity. In this case, I used the YouTuber Tommy Annett. I had to use vector lines, and both projects took a week to do. The right is my national park poster, which I picked Nico National Park. Both of them were really entertaining.
And to brag about her and Yuka, they both are constantly going above and beyond. Like those three that you just had are the ones I'm always know in that class I can ask to do a little bit extra and are just go-getters. And so I'm very, very proud of them. I would hire them as a graphic designer. So if you go looking for graphic designers, need some summer work, those three right there, guys. They're awesome.
Thank you.
Amber.
Well, on the left is my Attack on Titan poster. We were supposed to pick a national park and mix it with something that we liked. So I just took my favorite my favorite show, and I intervened it with my national park poster. So I just did the Attack on Titan wall. And then on the left, I did my name. We were supposed to find objects around the school, and then we were supposed to put it on a slot on these little pictures and make our name out of it. That's it.
And so the rest of these students, it's their very first year doing anything with any sort of art and graphic design. So these guys are awesome, including Amber. And so just really proud, like I always say. Mila?
Hi guys. So on the left, well actually no, hold up. There we go. On the right, we have the first ever project I've done. It's the Celebrity Project. I picked one of my favorite artists and I made that just by using the pen tool. Then to the left, we have my favorite project personally, which is our park poster. And for that, I also did one of my favorite shows. And I've pretty much learned everything from this class, seeing as I've never taken any other technology classes. So instead of you bragging on us, I want to brag on you. So I just like to say thank you.
You're welcome. Leo.
On the left was meant to be our celebrity poster, but I went a little with a fictional character instead. It turns out to be one of my greatest because it looks the best to me by far. And on the right is the Glacier National Park, our national park poster. And it's always been my favorite place to be, and making a national park of something that I love has always been a great thing to me. And that's why I want to brag on you as well. You are such a great teacher.
Thank
You have always made the class fun and energetic to the point where I actually want to participate.
I really appreciate about Leo here is he, like with this project, the Glacier National Park, you did this because you've hiked there, right?
Yeah.
And so he's like, I want to do somewhere I've been. And then whenever we were recently doing some stuff where they could redesign a poster for the Mineola Nature Preserve, and he actually went out and hiked it and took pictures himself because he was like, oh, online these pictures aren't good enough. I'm going to go find better pictures. And so he went and did that, and I was like, dude, come on, that's awesome. So really proud of you, man.
Right. And with both of these, I both used the pen tool, and I have discovered a new hobby and a love for art. I am now doing it constantly.
Jackson.
Okay, so I got 3 projects on there. I was kind of sick when we were putting these slides together, so I didn't. But I did tell Mr. Cabot what I wanted on there. So our celebrity, down in the bottom left-hand corner, or y'all's bottom right-hand corner, I think, is Christopher Walken. But I went back in after I already finished him and gave him a golden eye patch because I thought it looked cool. Just cause. Above him is my name project. I used, which it was really hard to find the J. I had to go back and retake like 5 different J's until Mr. Cabot pointed that one out on top of the school. The A's made out of my my tuba, so figured I'd incorporate something I liked into that. And then the others are just various things around the school. And then my national park poster, we were able to, like they said before, pick an actual place or something with a little bit of fiction. So I chose Atlantis, and it was really hard getting all the shades of blue right, because there's a lot of shades of blue in that. And a lot of shades of gray too. But the main part I felt was the hardest was getting the typeface correctly, because it just didn't pop out enough with like a solid black typeface, and it took me probably about 30 minutes to find that one. But overall, I really like the course, and it's taught me a lot about how to use computers and design stuff graphically.
Great. Awesome, Jack. Fun fact about his Atlantis one there is he, clearly Atlantis isn't real and there's not much fictional stuff with like pictures of it. So he did that completely from his brain. I was like, dude, I fully believe that that's a picture of Atlantis. It was awesome. All right, Elijah.
On the bottom left is the Lost Found Name project, and I had trouble finding a good E. The best E I found was in a tree, and he said he wanted it more industrial. And on the top right is my dog, well, my brother's dog. He was also made using entirely the pen tool, and I kept messing up because some of his fur is just random streaks of white outside of the white on his, and I couldn't find them properly. But it was fun being in this class so far, and I've learned a lot about art.
So as you can see, they do such a great job, so I can't be more proud of them. And so, but yeah, that's where our program is. And like I said, anywhere y'all want us to grow, we are excited to grow to and do what we can for y'all. So thank y'all.
Thank you. Item G on the agenda is to consider information and action items discussed in executive session. Mr. Marcus.
Dr. Abbott, members of the board, we have the following resignations. Miss Amanda Clower, art facilitator for the Wood County Co-op. Miss Brandy Davlin, primary school, middle school nurse. Mr. Patrick Horgan, DAEP coach. Rihanna Jackson, primary school teacher. We have the retirement of Miss Lisa Phillips, who has been at our primary school for a long time and will be retiring in December. So we're going to miss Miss Phillips. Also, Coach Heath Regal. He was our assistant athletic director, coach, and he's taken the head football coach and athletic director position in Canton. Mr. Justin Rivers, athletic trainer, and Miss Pamela Valance, high school special education teacher. And then as far as new hires, we have Mr. Cameron Frazier, high school social studies. Cameron is coming to us from Lindale ISD, and he'll teach U.S. history for us. We also have the consideration of an administrator contract, Dr. Tammy Willis. She is the director of the Wood County Co-op, for an extension for her. And then we have a list of employees from the co-op and a big list of employees from our school district that we're going to recommend for hire, and those are in the media. Mr. Major will get you a copy of those through email, all of those staff members. So those are our considerations.
Is there a motion to accept the considerations as provided by the superintendent? Moved by Mr. McGow, seconded by Mr. Ballard. Any discussion? All those in favor? Thank you. Mr. Bjork, financial report.
I had a few things going, so I thought I'd just stand up tonight. David, if you will scroll down to 1,080. This is for the month, how we wound it up for February. We ended up with $10,774,678 in total cash, which is an increase from last month of $376,000. Compared it to this time last year, we're down $1.1 million, and that's because of the band hall project. That's it in a nutshell, unless y'all have some questions about something.
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Okay. Well, I'm going to move on down the list.
Okay.
Tax collections, 92.58%. We're up 0.29 from this time last year. We're 92.29. Total taxes collected, including delinquents, 94.14, up 0.28 from this time last year. The enrollment report, we are down 5 from last month, and our attendance rate is not good for the month of February and March when you compare the two. Total attendance, 94.35 last and 91.77. So we need to get our attendance rate back up if we can to at least 95 total.
What's causing that?
A lot of the illness still going on.
Flu,
stomach bug, stress. We were at 98% today. Coming back. Strong work. Coming back.
Good for you. Good for you.
Now it's time to review our yearly scholarship trust. As Mr. Mize mentioned, the Meredith is giving us this year $100,000 for 10 $10,000 scholarships. In the past, it's been $5,000. They've upped it to 10. The Reach Foundation, we have a new representative with them this year. The one we've had all this time has retired. So we're going to have a new representative. We talked a few times. I know Ms. Foster has talked with them also. We'll find out probably the day of the awards who's going to be getting what. Almost every child in the past that has applied has gotten something. For Max Hudson, I have not heard anything from them yet. Okay. So that leaves the scholarships we have in our possession, which are the Wilson Scholarship. And if you can find those pages, there they are. There's one. You see, we started out the Wilson with $435,000. It has grown to $709,000. We have given out a total of $26,000 in scholarships since we've had it. Right behind that is the English Trust. Started out at $235,000. It has grown to $358,000. We've given a total of $15,000 in scholarships out of it. Dan Peacock started out at $16,000, has grown to $22,000, and there has been $2,500 given in scholarships out of it. What we've done in the past on Wilson, we've given 10 $1,000 scholarships. In the English Trust, we've given 5 $1,000 scholarships. And on the Peacock Trust, their family is still involved with that trust. They usually just give one $500 scholarship. I can tell you on the Max Hudson Trust last year, they gave us $21,000, and we gave 21 $1,000 scholarships. Y'all have any question about the scholarships?
The applications already started coming in?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we usually meet towards the end of April.
In fact, I think that yesterday was the first day that the scholarship applications were released. So they're working on those hot and heavy.
Thank you. Item I on the agenda is an open forum. If you are here tonight and you wish to address the board, now is the time for you to come forward and make your remarks. The trustees may not respond to items not listed on the agenda, but will in every way possible make sure your concerns are reviewed and if necessary, call for an agenda item related to the concern at a future meeting. Comments should be limited to 5 minutes. As presiding officer of the board, I have the responsibility to remind you that individual personnel issues are discussed in executive session. Therefore, please limit all public comments to programs, situations, and/or issues. Is there a sign list? You got it. Oh, I'm sorry. Duh. Thank you. Thanks.
Good evening, and thank you for your time tonight. My name is Meredith Prince, and my daughter is a proud member of the Mineola High School Sound of the Swarm. She is a senior this year, and this is her 3rd time to represent this school and this town at the state level, and she has loved doing so. She has also competed in many events individually and represented Mineola in a great way. As a senior, she's needing more than usual financially between cap and gown, senior pictures, prom, and preparing for college. The previous 2 times this band has won the state marching competition, I've paid the balance of the ring that was not covered by donations from our wonderful community. What I'm asking of you for this year is for the school district to cover that cost for these kids' rings. Given the current climate of our world right now, many families, myself included, simply are not able to afford to pay for those rings, and these kids put in way too many hours of hard work and endless dedication to earn them. It would be an absolute shame for them to not receive those rings. Many parents still have not been able to find sustainable employment, and with inflation at an all-time high, it makes it even more difficult to make ends meet. Something else I would like you to consider is the positive impact that this band program has on this community. It draws the attention of other families and makes the community more attractive. With more families moving here and buying homes, that means more tax dollars to help our school in the future. It also helps bring our community together and builds morale for everyone, including those who don't even have children in the band. It sets a great example for surrounding communities to help them improve their programs as well. Over the past 4 years, I've attended countless football games, marching competitions, only to hear the parents from other schools sing our praises. This program gives our kids a sense of pride and belonging and passes those feelings along to their families and to other schools. I'm saddened that the school board did not see fit to recognize our students for their accomplishment representing us on their own accord. I think it would help motivate future students and make a huge showing for our community to know that the district stepped up and did right by these kids and paid for their rings. Thank you in advance for your meaningful consideration of what I'm asking. Please understand, our children worked really hard for this, and I don't want this taken away from them.
Thank you. Mr. Carrington.
I probably am not going to be as eloquent. I can tell you that right now. But it comes down to these kids work hard. I'd put them up against the football team as the amount of effort that's put into getting on that field. Nights, days, morning, it doesn't matter. They're out there giving it everything. And that's what we're here for. I mean, we're here for the kids. I mean, that's the whole purpose of this establishment here. I got a bunch of notes, and I probably won't cover any of them. But like she said, 3 years in a row, I've paid for a ring the last time. I've got 2 to pay for this year, if it comes down to that. There's some people that don't have that luxury to be able to afford that, so to cover some of this cost, we've got fundraising that was done, $5,227 in donations. That's local restaurants giving their money, their profits, their tips. The Wood County Symphonic Band, I think is the name of that. They take a donation at their concerts. All that money comes in out of the community to give to the kids. We raised on a GoFundMe page $1,181. The band boosters have donated $3,000 towards the rings, which comes up to $9,408, which leaves us $25,276 short just in covering those costs. And most of the parents, I know I attend every one of those band night outs. I'm giving it those as well as going to have to turn around and pay in the end, possibly. And most of the other parents that are here do the same thing. Most of those events are band parents that show up to promote or to support their kids. In 2016, I'm under the understanding that the Mineola ISD paid portions of the kids' rings for the football team. Coaches got them, administration got them, cheerleading got them. Other members in the school got rings. And if we're going to pay for one division, we got to look at and supporting all the kids. We've got just other schools. Tenahall this year, the 2A school, one state, their ISD paid 2/3 of the cost of the rings. Lindale, their ISD paid half the cost of the rings. We're just looking to bridge that gap between the money we've raised and the money that's still needed. And to my understanding, the rings have been paid for. They're sitting in a vault waiting for us to get them to our kids. If that's the only reason, I mean, can we not find something in the multiple $1 million budget that we've got sitting there to cover 25 grand for these kids that have brought notoriety? If we step on the field, we go travel anywhere, I was at the beach and had on a Mineola shirt and was asked, hey, do you have any kids in the band? He was a band director from another town. Just random. Hey, y'all's band is awesome. These kids put in the work, put in the time, put in the effort. Honestly, I've been on the field for the last however many years, and I've got plenty more to go. So I give of my time and my money to be able to support these kids, and I feel that it should be only right that the school itself helps support them as well. I guess that's all I got.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it. Item J. Item J on the agenda is the consent agenda. Minutes of the meetings held by the, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Can we ask questions? No?
It has to be added to the next.
We can add it to the next agenda. Minutes of the meeting by the MISD Board of Trustees certify the superintendent to represent Mineola ISD on the regular Regional Advisory Committee for 2022-2023. Lake Country Playhouse tax exemption request. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the regular board meeting held on February 21st, certifying the superintendent to represent Mineola on the Regional Advisory Committee and the Lake Country Playhouse tax exemption request as presented?
I'll move.
Motion by Mrs. Campbell. Is there a second? By Mr. Ballard. All those in favor? Thank you. New and unfinished business. Consider and take action on the 2022-2023 district academic calendar.
Mr. President, members of the board, we had our first reading last month at our meeting, and so this is kind of that second review, and I haven't heard any questions and got really any feedback on that, so.
I just have one question.
Yeah, sure.
So it's like, it's set up the way this one is, and they have 2 weeks after STAR test to entertain these children. So how much learning goes on in the 2 weeks after STAR test? Because year before last, they were only in school 1 week after STAR.
So I'll kind of tip the hand a little bit, and I hadn't even talked to the principals about this.
Oh, Lord.
But on May the 23rd of 2023, Mineola turns 150 years old. So kind of thinking that week would probably be Celebrate Mineola Week. And there's some other conversations. I know Phil was at the meeting the other night. There's a big celebration planned every month in 2023. So I'm hoping some of that time would be occupied by that. But also that week right after testing, principals, y'all speak up too, trips, different activities, end of year stuff. I know y'all are going to be busy. Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Field trips, the
A
zoo.
lot of fun, yeah. But that's a little bit of the head of the game on the 23rd, that week.
When will you decide at the beginning, those 2 weeks at the beginning before school starts, when will you decide on those topics for staff development? In the summer?
Summer with teachers in May, like with our end of the year CTS post conferences, kind of what their goals are for the next year. So you look at the collective goals for the campus and then base PD off of that. To design it over the summer.
So this is, and I think we talked about this before, but this is staff development for all the teachers, not that they got days during the summer and they can do that during those first 2 weeks in the summer. So they would not come back? They would not come back on that?
No, this is for the whole campus as a whole. And so they do have 2 comp days.
Yeah.
That they can do in the summer, and that's just their individual compliance training. That's one, and then they can choose 2 more to do in the summer that's based off of their test goal or whatever.
Yeah, one of the big ones we saw was that the mandatory required online training, making that a day where, you can release that pretty quick, get it done during the summer, count it as a day, because they're spending, that's one of the things we heard from our teachers. They're spending a lot of time doing that stuff after school or trying to compensate for that time. So, yeah.
Do we require our teachers to be GT certified? All of them? Or just your main areas?
Just the ones that teach at GT.
And at one time, we talked about teachers being ESL certified. How's that?
Had a few, yeah. What percentage, you know, idea percentage-wise, how many?
Not all of mine are, but all of my ELAR teachers are, and all of them that teach any kind of reading, math, not so much, but.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions?
Y'all good with calendar? I'm good.
Do I have a motion to approve the 2022-2023 calendar as presented? Mr. McGowan, seconded by Mr. Dossett. Any other comments? All those in favor? Thank you. Discuss, consider, and take action on the TASB Risk Management Fund Interlocal Participation Agreement. Mr. Buell.
This is a new interlocal agreement. We have been with TASB for unemployment for a long time, probably at least 20 years. And with COVID coming up, the past couple of years, they've seen a lot of fraudulent claims on unemployment pay. And basically what they're kind of doing is covering themselves, because if they give a school advice to seek their own attorney's help and the school doesn't do it, then they don't want the school coming back on them because the school didn't follow their advice. But for the most part, they process all our claims like they normally would, and even the ones that are fraudulent, they take care of those also. And those are basically all the claims we had the past 2 years were fraudulent.
Any questions? Do I have a motion to approve the agreement as presented by Mr. Buell? Motion by Mrs. Campbell, seconded by Mr. Dossett. All those in favor? Thanks. Consider and take action on a memorandum of understanding for dual credit with Tyler Junior College. Mr. Sauer.
This is, doesn't really require a whole lot of explanation. We offer dual credit through our high school in partnership with Tyler Junior College, and this is our annual memorandum of understanding that we signed with them, so there are no changes to it this year. Just allows us to offer dual credit next year.
Is there a motion to approve that? Mrs. Campbell, seconded by Mr. McGowan.
Just raise your hand.
All those in favor?
Thanks. Mr. Sauer, the next one's yours too.
Yeah, and it's the same thing, goes right along with that. We offer college preparatory classes through online program called Edgenuity that our kids can take. And we do that through a partnership with TJC. Again, this is nothing new. We just sign it every year with them.
Does it cost us?
Well, we just pay for the Edgenuity program.
Okay.
So we pay for that already.
I'll make the motion to approve that through TJC, seconded by Mrs. Campbell. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Mr. Sauer, this one's yours too, the SHAC committee.
So, this, some of you may remember, probably, let me make this a little bigger. Back in December at a board meeting, the board approved a resolution to allow our school health advisory committee to research the new House Bill 1525, which talks about not only the school health advisory committee, but also the teaching of human sexuality curriculum, which that is not our term, that's a state term, and it scares a lot of people, but it's really very simple, which I'll show you in just a minute. But basically, what y'all enabled the SHAC to do was research this. Number one, do we want to offer this curriculum? And number two, if we do, what curriculum would we use to teach it? So we did meet with the SHAC committee. The SHAC committee, in conjunction with, really based on recommendations from the high school counselors, that the SHAC committee just makes a recommendation to the board, and we're going to present that written recommendation to y'all tonight. But what the SHAC committee recommended is that we offer human sexuality instruction through the high school, Logistically, it would be basically a week-long, 45 minutes a day course. The curriculum is posted online. We have a SHAC website. All House Bill 1525 is about is being 100% transparent with the parents. So they know exactly what we're teaching their kids. But it was unanimous that this is needed in our school right now. There was no question about that. According to House Bill 1525, parents have to opt in order for their kids to participate. So the way we set it up, it would start next year, and it would be a week-long unit through the freshman seminar class, which is taught by Jason Goodson. We have an organization called, oh my gosh, I can't remember what it's called, Mike, do you remember? Christie's Safe Haven. And they send a representative out that actually teaches the curriculum to the students. So each student gets a little paperback book and they kind of work through it. It's got videos, etc. So this is the only human sexuality curriculum we're going to teach, is in this 1 week course in high school. We're not going to teach it in grades K through 8, even though the mandated health TINKS that we teach in grades K through 8 does cover some things like physical hygiene, differences between males and females, what you can expect as you grow and go through puberty and all of these things. Those things are mandated to be taught in grades K through 8. This is separate and apart from that. And I'll show you, let me see here. Choosing the Best Life is the curriculum that they've recommended. It is abstinence based, so it teaches abstinence as the best choice for teenagers. Correlates with the health TICs for high school. The values presented in this curriculum are very conservative, and they really align. This is what the SHAC committee like. They align with the values of our community. So I can assure you that nothing is going to be taught to our kids that would be inappropriate. It's standard dating, violence, sex trafficking, how to say no, if you're feeling pressured, how to tell somebody if you're being sexually harassed, things like that. We also have a parent guide that's available that is also on that website. And again, if you look at the curriculum on the website and the parent doesn't want their child to participate in this week-long unit, the child cannot participate with no consequence to them. So we would have a parent meeting at the beginning of the school year. They can see the curriculum. Christie's Safe Haven will be on hand to explain it to them and how the unit will be taught. And then they sign a consent form if they consent to the instruction. So, and all instruction would be overseen by an MHS teacher or counselor. Any questions about any of this? So, going back to this, let me show you the recommendation that the SHAC is asking the board to approve. Basically says, the members of the MISD School Health Advisory Council make the following recommendations to the Board of Trustees regarding human sexuality instruction for grades 9 through 12, Mineola High School. First, allow trained representatives from Christie's Safe Haven to teach a single unit of human sexuality instruction over a period of 1 to 2 weeks at 45 minutes per day until concluded. Allow the use of Choosing the Best Life as the curriculum for that instruction. Provide an in-person informational parent meeting prior to the start of instruction, and require a signed consent form for each student before they will be allowed to participate in the unit of instruction. And again, all of this is done in order that parents can know and see exactly what's being taught to their kids. It's all about transparency. Everything is posted to the website. They can actually look at the little booklet that the kids get and go through. So they can make an informed decision about whether they want their child to participate or not. So that's the recommendation from the SHAC committee.
Any other discussion?
Has anybody from our district seen this curriculum?
Yes, the SHAC committee, we went through the whole.
You've seen it?
And I can show you, just so you know, the topics. Let's see, choosing the best life, developing healthy relationships, preventing sexual violence, teen pregnancy, avoiding HIV/AIDS, choosing the best life, setting limits, resisting pressure. But it's all of it, every bit of it is abstinence-based. That's the main message that is the focus of this curriculum.
Any other questions? We have a motion by Mrs. Campbell to approve the SHAC requirement. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Good, thanks. Any other discussion? Word. All those in favor? Thank you.
Conservative, I look at it every day.
Can we skip the school innovations and come back to that at the end? Because I've got a Zoom that I need to pull up.
Consider and take action on interlocal agreement with the City of Mineola to combine the election site at the City Hall for the May 7th, 2022 election as per House Bill 1. Mr. Bueller?
This is what we do every year. We're required to have joint elections to help each entity that's a voting entity in the city to have as few expenses as possible. So we combine our elections with the city.
A motion to approve the agreement as presented by Mr. Bjork, by Mr. McGowan, seconded by Mrs. Campbell. All those in favor? Thanks. Discuss, consider, and take action on amended quote for the trailer for the MHS Ag Science Program. Mr. Miles.
Dr. Abbott, members of the board, in September of 2021, the board approved a trailer quote for the purchase of a hog trailer. Mr. Warnicki, you want to update the board on kind of what's taken place and what you've been able to find for an amended quote for that trailer?
Dr. Abbott, members of the board, thank you all for having me. A couple of weeks ago, I had some bad news at the Houston Livestock Show. The trailer manufacturing company let me know that they sold business to another trailer manufacturer and they were not going to complete any of the trailers, and we were on a waiting list. And so we went back to the drawing board. That was 6 months ago when we put that quote in, and since then the inflation has gone up, and so I was able to find a trailer, and actually it's probably a better one. It's in Arizona right now, ready to go. But again, like I said, inflation's gone up, prices have gone up. As you can tell, the gas prices just alone. The proposal right now is the trailer is in Arizona for $53,999 compared to the one that we were going to get $43,000. And it's pretty much comparable to what we were going to get, but even better due to the fact that it does have the living quarters or the tack room in front of the tongue of the trailer now. This is, again, like I said 6 months ago, this is a very big need for us. This is not a want, this is a need. We have 90 kids showing currently at the Wood County Livestock Show. We are the largest group going to the Wood County Livestock Show next week. And I also would like to take this time to formally invite you to our chapter show, which will be Saturday at 3 o'clock here on our fairgrounds. And again, we have the largest amount of hogs going to Wood County, steers, heifers, all the way down. Overall, we have the most. And we just don't have the trailers capable of doing that right now. It would be nice to go ahead and get that trailer this week right before county. It's ready to go in Arizona.
What are the odds of it getting here?
Pretty good if we can get a driver to go there starting tomorrow.
We actually had a parent volunteer his time to go out to Arizona and pick it up and bring it back.
The purchase has been approved. The purchase was approved in September. So it's just a matter of updating because of amending the price because of circumstances that we really had no control over.
That's correct.
Any liability for the district, parent to go and bring the district property back?
And we need to figure out that piece, what that might look like.
We just approved the amended price, and you
Yeah,
all
that's
figure
it.
out the
Yeah, we'd have to figure out
logistics.
the logistics to that. Yeah.
A motion to approve by Mrs. Campbell, seconded by Mr. McGowan. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Miles. School Innovations and Achievement Attendance Program.
No doubt, but one of the things we talked about tonight was attendance, and, you know, the third quarter of the year, that's always the toughest time. When it used to be 6 weeks at a time, the fourth 6 weeks was always, you'd look at attendance rates, and that would always be the lowest. But attendance overall, since the pandemic began, it's been a tough time. There's been a lot of kids that have left districts and moved here, moved there. You've seen attendance percentages go down around the state. And so a lot of people don't realize this about schools. There's two ways to generate money in a school district. It's to increase enrollment and to increase attendance. And that's really it, because it's a seesaw effect with the economy. As far as what I mean by that is, you know, you see new housing, you see all this stuff coming online, but when that share goes up, the state side goes down, and so kind of like a seesaw effect that takes place. So attendance and enrollment, that's where you get the most bang for your buck. And so, you know, attendance, you're looking at, you know, one student enrollment, roughly $10,000 that generates for our school district. But if you think about attendance in whole, just a half percentage point better attendance would generate about $90,000 in revenue for the district. And so it's those little things that start adding up. But outside of that, the bigger piece to it is, and we've always seen this in the research, if kids show up, they're going to learn something. And if they're going to learn something, they're probably going to do well on state tests when it comes to accountability and a kid growing in their knowledge. So that's a very important part of what we're trying to accomplish as a school district. This program that we've taken a look at, currently what we do, if kids are having trouble in attendance, they'll get a letter or they'll get a phone call, and they'll have a meeting that's set up. But there's never anything on that positive side, trying to create a culture of like, hey, it's important for you to be at school. We want you to be at school. We miss you when you're out. And so this whole attendance program through the partnership initiative really focuses on those direct mail pieces to our kids that are directly to them, that make them feel welcome, make them want to be here, want to encourage them to be here, information around attendance in general, kind of how it works. So those are direct mail-out pieces that would go to our kids. And if you think about 1,630 plus kids that are involved in that, that's a lot of direct mail pieces that are going. And so we've got ESSER funds to be able to use to be able to do this program. My idea was we give it a couple of years for a trial run and see. And if it's generating revenue to be able to pay for itself and helping us improve our attendance rate and helping us improve academically, then that program is well worth the money that's spent on it. And so it would be a 2-year trial run to check that piece to see if that is something that would help us on the attendance front. Because if you look just in general, I mean, it's like 95%. We need to be pushing the bar on that. We need to be 96, 97% if we can get there. So, and that helps everything across the board. Accountability is a big driver. If you look at distinctions for campuses, and I don't know how they're going to change this next legislative session, but if you look at distinctions for campuses, attendance is one of those big driving factors for that. Very important. So,
What are we trying at the district level already
so
to improve attendance?
So we've got mail-outs that go from the campuses, and principals, y'all help me with when that goes out. So maybe 5, 7, 9, 4, 8, 12. Okay.
What does that mean?
Yeah, the fourth day they miss,
Oh.
fifth day they miss, they get a letter after every 4 absences.
And just a letter, is there any kind of follow-up?
Yeah, there's phone calls.
By you? By the principal?
Sometimes by us, by the secretary, the teacher.
So basically, this program takes all of that, and they have a very generic system. So it doesn't matter when that mail out goes from the primary campus or from the elementary, it's all going out at the same time. It uses our software system, Skyward, to know when those absences are occurring and sends that information, those bulk mail outs for our folks. Now, we're still making contact. That's not going to ever eliminate personal interaction. But not only that piece, there's the positive piece that's going too. Man, your attendance is great. That kid gets a direct mail-out piece to say, man, congratulations, you've got 97% attendance this 9-week period. That's awesome. We really appreciate you being at school. And I don't know a kid alive that's not excited when he sees a piece of mail that comes with his name on it. It's positive news. Because up until this point, it's been the stuff that you need to be in school because you've been absent 5 times or 4 times, 8, 12, whatever it may be. So.
What's the track record for this company?
So they've worked in Richardson ISD, and that was their big focus. After the pandemic, they really wanted to try something out to improve attendance and address those things when it come to academics. And so they've been running through a trial program, been very successful there. But our big piece is, I want a return on investment. That's anything you do in business. If we're going to invest money in this, we need to see the attendance rate improve. We need to see that that's working, that creates that culture where you can justify paying for it. That's any program. So,
how will we be able to monitor that this program is what it has improved the attendance rate?
Attendance percentages, just like we look at every 9-week period. Every board meeting, we look at it once a month. But
so we can
really,
say that if attendance goes up any percentage point, it's because of this program.
I think it would have a correlation to it. Now, there's going to be some things to it too as well, that you're coming out of a pandemic, so I hope things are going to improve. But we've got to get back to building that culture that we need to be in school and we need to be here in person, and that's very important. And we got to kind of recreate that. 44,000 to start out. Yeah, and your return on investment, if you move it a 0.5 percentage point, it'd be 90,000. But if you move it 1 percentage point, that's a great return on investment.
So the 90,000 a year?
No, 44,000 is our
no,
cost.
the 90. We'd get 90,000 back for a 0.5 percentage point.
If we can move it.
So if we went to 95.5, we'd have 90,000. So we'd only be out 46,000.
What have you done?
It's just not worth it. It's not worth having the program.
But Mr. Bjork, when you made application for the ESSER funds, how did you write that into it that we can use the ESSER funds for this kind of program?
David can probably answer that better than me.
Yeah.
But I know that we put programs in that we could move around.
Yeah, and all the ESSER funds are supposed to be devoted to getting kids back to school, mitigating learning loss, all of that. So it fits really right in with the intent of the ESSER funds.
And as we started spending, since we've had ESSER, there's sometimes in certain categories we don't spend as much as we anticipated, so there winds up being extra funds we can dedicate.
So the only district we know is Richardson.
It's a brand new program. I've talked to a couple other superintendents about it. They're very interested in this piece too, because it's that same type of culture that's kind of been created over the last 2 years that, not that we can control the pandemic, but people have missed a lot of school. We've been different from a lot of places. It's because of where we're at, and we've been very blessed. But we can always do better. That's the way I look at it.
This can be paid out of the ESSER funds?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions, discussion, comments?
Our attendance during the first part of the pandemic, like after the shutdown and when we came back, our attendance was higher than it was this year. But you know what the difference was?
Being able to count online participation.
You know what the other thing was?
I'm not here.
Because you didn't have anything to see. Anything that's gonna get them in, and it's free to the district for at least right now.
And it's important we watch that return on investment. That's a
Because
fit.
it's ESSER, it's not, we're not
Paid
paying.
sooner or later.
Only for people.
But it would justify it.
Yeah, it does. Do we have other options for getting kids back in, or is this the only one out there that we look at?
I can tell you as a district and campus principals can attest, we've tried everything. We've tried playing hardball, we've tried getting them in and talking to them one-on-one. They've had counseling. They get letters.
But who counsels them? I mean,
The counselors.
Who get, oh, we do that already?
We-
Oh, but they don't, the company would.
No.
We use our next step counselors to do that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The in-person stuff is done by our staff.
Was there ever a time that the rep was gonna come and talk to us? From this company?
Yeah, he was gonna be on Zoom, but something
Oh,
happened.
okay.
He did get on there and chat.
I don't know, I just have, what? Okay. What would be the difference between this and hiring an attendance person? A local somebody to work in the district as an attendance person?
Benefits and tied into somebody for the long term, where this is a exploration option. I'd hate to explore somebody's livelihood.
Right,
That's
and
kinda-
it's ESSER
We
funds.
did get to Zoom with them too, and, see their presentation. And what Mr. Mize is saying, more of that positive approach, because that is something, I feel like we send the letters home, but, and we do stuff on campus for perfect attendance or approved attendance. But it sounds like they're doing more of a positive approach that honestly, we don't have time to do. There's just so much else going on. So they're taking that off of our backs to get that positive push as well. And they're keeping us in the loop as to who it's going to. That way we have some say in kind of who to push, where to push and where to pull.
So do we, I don't wanna belabor this, but do we know the times that they're gonna communicate with the same numbers you gave before?
We set up that.
And then it would just be at the end of the 9 weeks, as far as we really appreciate the fact that you were in school.
It could be every 3 weeks. It could be periodically.
We set that, we set
Whenever
it?
we want it.
Makes me feel a little bit better.
And it's a really strong data piece that's really simple to look at, and you can just see, which kids maybe you need to put, a little more love and care into, It's got a really good, instead of counting, it's got a really nice data piece.
Oh, and almost, when you're building your school calendar for the next school year, they'll give you a printout and color code the days where you are below your average attendance. So as you build that calendar out, you know that if people aren't showing up, President's Day, if we're in school, they're just not coming because most people are at work. We can make that adjustment in the calendar. So,
Extend Thanksgiving for deer season.
I got my priority.
Couple days at the front, couple days at the back, yeah.
Priorities.
Yes, spend family time.
Family time.
I move that we try it.
And it is ESSER funds, correct?
Yes,
So, I mean, we're really not pulling anything out of our general fund to do it.
And we're not married to it.
Right, and after 1 year, we'll know.
Yeah, you're gonna, you'll have an idea. It's making an impact.
So the motion by Mrs. Campbell, seconded by Mr. McGinn. Is that right?
No.
Okay.
Wait a
Mr. Ballard.
second.
I'm sorry. I knew there was a blue shirt hand go up.
He's over here tapping.
I just didn't know who it was. Oh, it's your turn? Okay.
Yeah, Robbie.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? Thank you. All right. The purposes for which this meeting was called being completed, I declare this meeting adjourned.